If you want to learn more about American liberty through the context of American history, go to my friends over at patriotpost.us, sign up today, and download your free copy of the Patriots Primer on American Liberty through the link in the description box below. How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and today we got to talk a little bit more about COVID-19. I know you're tired of hearing about it. I'm tired of hearing about it too, but I found some revealing information you got to know. You need to hear this information. You got to hear these numbers because it puts a lot of what the mainstream media, the experts, and the government say into question and into context. First things first, numbers from the federal government that don't really add up with what we've been told over the past few weeks. The CDC has released COVID-19 deaths, and I'll place that chart on the screen before you and also the link in the box below. There's only been about 37,000 COVID-19 deaths, but the media say 65,000. So how is that correct? Now, there's a note right there on the graph that says, oh, these numbers aren't necessarily up to date. It's kind of a lag in the reporting. The lag in the reporting would be in the most recent numbers. So you see some of the stuff on the graph. It says, okay, like at the end of it, like 10,000, 12,000 or whatever. The last one is like 2,000 and some change, maybe 3,000 at this particular point. So if you are able to update those numbers with the trend of what happened before, let's say you're going to gain, you might gain 8,000 more deaths at the most. You still are right around 45,000. That is not 65,000. But on that graph, it had 65,000 as the number of pneumonia deaths. Okay, so what's really going on? Is it COVID-19 that killed somebody, or is it pneumonia? How did they get pneumonia? Was it from COVID-19? Was it from the flu or something else? Speaking of the flu, on this chart, they said there have only been about 5,900 flu deaths since February 1st. Now, do you believe that? Because let's be clear. In the winter of 2017 to 2018, about a 4-month period, there were 80,000 flu deaths. So you're going to go from 80,000 to 5,000. What's going on? Are we counting deaths that would normally be seen as a flu death as COVID-19 instead? Because remember, Dr. Birx got on TV and said, if you have COVID-19 in your system, when you die, you'll be counted as a COVID-19 death. And I'm hearing reports that people are getting diagnosed with that without actually being seen by a doctor. So what's really happening here? I mean, I'm seeing conflicting numbers that don't really add up. It don't make any sense. Speaking of numbers that don't make any sense, some experts have come out and said that this whole pandemic could last for 2 more years, like 2 additional years. Okay, so you're talking about if you go into the penitentiary, you got 2 years plus what you already done. So your total time service is going to be like, what, 2 years, 3 months, or whatever the case may be. They're talking about 2 more years of this. And why are they saying 2 more years? Oh, because you still got to have herd immunity. You got to have like 60 to 70% of the population infected before we go back to normal. Oh, well, I thought herd immunity wasn't really a real thing. I thought that you can't go on TV and say that, Diamond and Silk, Trish, right? You can't say that, right? You got to say, oh, flatten the curve, stay home, face mask, social distancing. That's what I was told, right? I was told that Sweden didn't do a good job. And shout out to my man Trump. I'm going to vote for him. I don't care. But he was wrong about that. But why is Trump going to be the disease expert? He's going to be the president. He relies on Fauci and Birx and all these people, all these so-called experts, you know, Jerome Adams. He relies on them to give him some real information, but he's not getting good information from these people because you got to have herd immunity. They said that the UK were wrong for trying to do that. They said Sweden were wrong for trying to do that, but they're actually right because that is a real thing. You're not going to be able to get over this or get beyond it being pandemic level until you get most people exposed to it or infected. That's just the reality of the situation, okay? The longer we're kept inside of our cages, really, of our homes, the harder it would be to get over it and get beyond it. You're going to see more cases. Like, there's going to be a spike. People say, oh, there's going to be a spike in cases when the lockdown is lifted. Yeah, because we've not been able to get it and get over it, okay? Because from the beginning, it was never about trying to prevent from getting it. It was never about trying to cure it. It was never about trying to just, wait it out like it's some kind of rainstorm. If you stay in your house for a while, when it's raining, it'll stop and you won't get wet when you leave. It's not like that. The whole point was to slow the spread flatten the curve, even it out. So rather than the virus hitting and then it being the big jump in new cases and hospitalizations, rather than that happening, you want to have it be gradual over time. Gradual meaning you're going to get it. It's just a matter of time. Are you going to get it now or are you going to get it later? All we're doing is delaying the inevitable. And the reason for that is because we said we did not want to overwhelm the hospital system with a bunch of new patients and whatnot. You know, a lot of sick COVID people. Okay, well, we're beyond that. They're not overwhelmed in the hospital. They're making TikTok videos. People are getting laid off. You have empty hospitals across the nation. People don't want to go. They're scared to go. They may have a regular checkup for a thing. They may got something wrong with them. They would normally go to the hospital to get it checked out. They would go to the ER, go to the doctor, but they don't want to go. They don't want to catch the virus. And then they're also being told that, oh, if you go without something really serious, you're going to be a burden because they're overwhelmed. They're not overwhelmed. Okay. You see all these photos online of people with their scars on their face from the PPE, all this, that, and the third. Meanwhile, if you're just living in a regular place in America, regular town, you'll be pretty much good to go into a hospital and it'll be nobody in there. Go to the ER, be by yourself in there. That's pretty much what's going on right now as I'm speaking. Okay, even in New York, which is the most hard hit place, you don't have overwhelmed and crowded hospitals. Not right now. Maybe at one point you did in New York City, but not anymore. So we're beyond that. What are we doing staying at home? All we're doing is making our immune system weaker. We're not doing what we got to do to be able to get over it, which is develop herd immunity. Have everybody get exposed. If you get sick, oh well, you're going to get sick regardless. Either you're going to get sick now or you're going to get sick later. You're probably better off to get sick now if you're going to get sick, which you might not be because this is like a 99.999% survival rate. Anyway, if you do get sick now while you have a stronger immune system. The longer you stay in the house, the longer you keep wearing your mask and your gloves and antibacterial soap, all this, that, and the third, the weaker you will be. So when you do get sick, you won't be ready. Your body's not prepared for it. If you're living your whole life in the glass bubble and then you come out one day all of a sudden to this world, you got all kind of toxins and diseases and viruses and whatnot hitting you all at once, you're not going to be able to deal with it because your body is not acclimated to that kind of environment. Your body is used to a sterile environment, antibacterial soap, face masks, home air. You're not prepared for the outside world. Like I said before, if you were raised in a house, right, you're a mountain lion, but you're raised as a cat in somebody's house, and you get put out there into a mountain in California somewhere, you get eaten up ASAP. You may be eaten by one of your own people, one of your own fellow mountain lions. You understand? Because you're not prepared for that kind of world. You did not grow up in that kind of world. It's the same thing with your immune system. If you are not prepared for the outside, you're going to get hit harder. So there may be a spike when the lockdown gets lifted, not because, oh, now, you did it too early. The virus ain't going nowhere. So any such thing is too early. It's not going to go nowhere. The point is that you were not prepared to be outside because you've not been outside. That's what's going on. So as I close, I want to say this. All these numbers that have been floating around, 65,000, 35,000, all these different numbers, it don't make much of a difference. What you got to do is stop being so afraid. Don't let the media intimidate you into staying in your house and giving up your rights. Don't let them do that. Go out there and just live your normal life. But be, just responsible. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying go to the bathroom, do number one, number two, and don't wash your hands. I mean, be a hygienic person still, but don't be so afraid where you got to wear hazmat suits, trash bags over your face with no room to breathe. It was one story where a lady had on a regular face mask and crashed her car because she couldn't breathe through the mask. I mean, let's stop all this foolishness. Let's get back to normal life. The virus is here. People die, but they die from the common cold. They die from the flu. They die from car accidents, homicide, suicide, fire, HIV, all kind of. You could die from a lot of different things. Don't be afraid of your life. Continue living it. But I think I'll leave that right there for now. And what say you? Do you think that we have been lied to, that we've been hoodwinked, bamboozled, led astray as it relates to this virus? And that's your viewpoint. Let me know why in the comments below. How do you feel about going forward, getting off lockdown? Should it be a nationwide thing? Should we do it staggered? I'm not really sure why we should do it staggered. Like I said, there's no risk to the hospital system. They're not overwhelmed. There's nobody there. It's a low death rate. You might have a higher chance of dying from the actual flu for real, really. I think there's a lower number of deaths from the flu and COVID-19 because of all the hand washing and stuff like that. Aside from, this quote unquote stay at home, that ain't really going to help you, in my humble opinion. And it's not going to help you at all once the lockdown gets lifted. You can't stay in your house forever. You can't just stay home and do nothing and get paid by the government forever. That's not how that works. You got to be out there participating in the economy. You can't be a bump on the log. It's simple. You can't have this thing of, 100 million people unemployed. It's just not a thing that makes any sense for the country or the world. But whatever your thoughts are, please let me know in the comments below. And that's all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.